All right, guys, so let's go over the showdown slate for the Seahawks versus the Rams tonight. This is a game where we don't have any definitive plays like we did last week. Like last week, we knew that we wanted to get Rodgers, MVS, and also Devontae Adams in the build because we knew Adams or MVS were going to go off. We also knew that Aaron Rodgers was going to have a good night. This one, it's kind of more of a toss-up. So I really think that the strategy for this specific slate is just going to be use game theory. So that means I'm going to be targeting, if I'm targeting a kicker, I'm not going to be targeting the quarterback there because that kind of means that a drive stalled out. And that just kind of means that the quarterback's not scoring as much. And then I'm just going to be using a lot of stacks from each side of the ball and kind of just using game theory that way. So if we're looking at the player pool, there's just not that many good value plays to even put in the captain spot. Maybe Will Dissly. I do like Cooper Kupp a lot, but that's not really value play. So I think I might roll with Greg Zuerlein in a couple of them. Maybe DK Metcalf as well. But if I had to pick two on both sides of the ball, the one I would want to go with is going to be Cooper Kupp for the Rams and then Chris Carson for the Seahawks. So let's try to make builds for each side of the ball here. So we'll try the LA Rams side. So obviously I'm not going to have Jared Goff in that one because I have the kicker in there. So that's kind of the way that one works out. Do like Tyler Lockett, not too bad of a play. Obviously, if all the Rams players are going off, that's going to mean that the Seattle Seahawks are passing the ball quite a bit. So that would mean that Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are not going to be bad plays. Now we're trying the other side of the ball here. Just kind of trying to figure out how I want this one to be shaped. It's just an interesting kind of overall build that we got going here. We have a lot of salary left over, so we're trying to figure out who we can put into the captain spot here. Like I said, just nothing definitive on this slate. Just kind of doing some game theory. Going to be putting about 5 lineups out there. Let's see here. Yeah, that's not too bad of a build. Definitely don't mind that GPP. Probably won't be playing too much cash on this slate. Let's do one more lineup here. Kind of just trying to balance it out. We did a stack for the Rams and the Seahawks. Now we're just going to try to balance it out a little bit. So I do like DK Metcalf, more so his price point. He has been getting a lot of red zone targets, and that's kind of what I like. So there's a good chance that he could score a touchdown, especially if it's high scoring, especially if they get into the red zone. So I do like that. We're going to throw Will Dissly into the captain spot just because that's more of a price point play. I think if we're doing Will Dissly, we got to try to get Russell Wilson into the build. Those two kind of go hand in hand. So obviously if Will Dissly does well, that's going to mean that Russell Wilson is passing, giving some touchdowns to him. I do like Todd Gurley out of the backfield. I think he'll catch some passes out of the backfield. But I also do like Chris Carson quite a bit for the Seahawks. And then also, I don't really mind any of the LA Rams receivers. I do definitely like Cooper Kupp and Brandon Cooks the most, but obviously all three of those could be the top scoring player and even receiver on the slate. So that's just kind of how this goes. Let's make one more build here for you. Just kind of going over all the options here. If we wanted to make a cash build, I think this is the one I would go with Zuerlein as a captain pick. That really allows you to kind of go anywhere with the build here. There's actually quite a decent amount of money left over. So we could maybe go out away from Greg Zuerlein in the captain spot, but that's just kind of for you guys to decide how you want to do that. All right, so real quickly, going to be going over the full slate. So last week, the full slate was really awesome, actually. I don't know if you guys saw the lineups there, if any of you guys played them. One of the lineups hit 181, I believe, and the other one hit 173. I didn't double check, but I know that once they cashed, I was pretty happy. At the end of the first quarter of the Monday night game, the lineup that we had there was James Conner, Joe Mixon, and Tyler Boyd. By the end of the first quarter, that one was already in the cash line as well. So pretty solid week for the full slate there. I really like playing the full slate too because typically the ownership's spread out, and that way you can really gain an edge. I really liked it last week more so because obviously we had Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, which were easy locks in there. Then I also threw MVS in there because it was a nice price point play. But this week it's a little bit more difficult. So we're looking at the quarterback here. We got Jacoby Brissett. Obviously, it's been pretty solid so far this year. Going against the Kansas City Chiefs, I do think they'll be down, so I do think he'll be forced to throw the ball. And at that price point, I easily think he could go for 15 DK points. If he gets 20, we do really like that as well. I will be touching on some of the other plays in the write-up later on tomorrow on Friday, so look for that. But for the full game slate, I'm going to be going with Brissett, and that also ties in the tight end play here. I don't really want to pay up for tight end on the slate because there's a ton of good plays to pay up for. So for tight end, we're going to go with Jack Doyle. Last week, we knew that it was going to be Eric Ebron or Jack Doyle kind of getting those targets in replace of T.Y. Hilton. And we saw that come true quite a bit. Ebron had like 3 drops or else he would have had a huge game. But Jack Doyle saw quite a bit of targets as well. So if T.Y. Hilton's going to be out again, I really like Jack Doyle and Brissett as kind of like a stack in the cash play. Really kind of cheap stack for us on the cash side. Should be quite safe. There are some other tight ends around there that you could go with as well if you want to. Maybe Greg Olsen. Delaney Walker's not too bad as well. So obviously we've got Ezekiel Elliott here going against the Green Bay Packers, who have just gotten torn up against the running backs, especially the last 2 weeks. So I think that's going to be a really easy play. You look at his average there, it's 18 DK points. I think that's going to be his floor this week. I just really like this play. Hopefully on a full slate, his ownership's down a little bit more than it should be, and we can really take advantage of that here. Then we got David Johnson. I thought he'd be 8K going against the Cincinnati Bengals here, who just got tore up by James Conner and Jalen Samuels. The thing about the Dave Johnson's play is that he's been getting a ton of targets as well. So we look at David Johnson. He could operate out of the slot quite a bit as well because Christian Kirk is out. They might just move him over to the slot for, a few more extra snaps just because Christian Kirk's out. But still, I really think that Dave Johnson's going to have a nice safe floor going against that easy matchup. So with Zeke and David Johnson, those are 2 easy matchups that we're going to be targeting. And then for the flex spot, we kind of got to wait and see on some of the news. I really like Aaron Jones, though. It seems like Jamaal Williams is going to be out, so that means that Aaron's usage is going to go way up. He should at least get 19 touches in this game. And I think that's going to be a solid play for us. He should at least get 15 DK points, which at that price point, we would want a little bit more, but still, he has the upside to easily go for 25 DK points if Jamaal Williams is out. But also, I do want to touch on something. James Conner is currently questionable, so if he's out, Jalen Samuels is going to be pretty appealing as well. And then going to the receiver spot, so Auden Tate, with all the injuries that they only have like 4 active receivers right now as I'm making this video. They'll probably sign someone from the practice squad. I think it's going to be Stanley Morgan. They might have actually done that already. I'd have to double check that. But Tate here, he has definitely taken over that receiver number 2 spot pretty much the last 2 weeks. Because, Ross struggled 2 weeks ago, and then they just kind of force-fed Tate some targets. He's going against the Arizona Cardinals this week, which is a great matchup. I really like this matchup. And you kind of think about the success that tight ends have had against the Cardinals. Tate is a big-bodied receiver. He could run routes, some of the routes that tight ends do as well. I really just don't mind this play at that price point. He should easily hit value in that matchup with the injury news. Just should be a strong play for us. And then Larry Fitzgerald with Christian Kirk out, maybe he gets a few more targets there. He has been pretty much safe. I know he only went for like 9.8 DK points last week, but still he has a nice safe average there. This is a matchup that they could easily go on and dominate. It's just kind of how they decide to attack it. I don't like having DJ and Larry Fitzgerald both in the same build, so I could see my build adjusting here. And maybe I try to get up to Michael Thomas, who's definitely priced too cheap. I could see that being a move that I make. And just calling that out real quick, so it would go from Larry Fitzgerald up to Michael Thomas, and then it'd go from Jack Doyle down to Tyler Eifert. And that would kind of be the route I'd go with that. Or you could go down from Jacoby Brissett to a little bit more risky quarterback play like Chase Daniels or even Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco I don't mind as a quarterback play, but those are just some quick lineup adjustments you can make. And then lastly, Cooper Kupp, we're just going to keep rolling with him. The targets he's been getting are insane. The usage he's been getting is insane as well. I do typically like to either, if I know a player's going to do well on a slate, I want to play a lot of lineups in the full slate. Or if I don't think that's going to be a high-scoring one, I typically just like to fade the Thursday night slate. That's just typically a strategy I like to do. That way you gain an edge either way. But this is one where it's kind of in the middle. And if I think it's going to be high scoring, if it's going to be high scoring, I think Cooper Kupp's going to be a nice safe cash play on the full slate. Then obviously Titans defense, if Josh Allen's out, they're going to have Matt Barkley as their starter. We know that quarterback situation was a mess last year. Look at what the Patriots did last week. against the Buffalo Bills. It was kind of a struggle for the Bills offense once Josh Allen left. I really like the Titans defense, especially at 3K. This should be a nice, safe cash build. I'm hoping that some news can break our way to make it a little bit easier. All right, that's all I have for you guys. Thanks.